Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Daniel Cave. As always, I've got my co-host along with me,
Laurence Marshall.
Hello.
Almost got there.
Yes, got that. And of course, we are no longer CANZUK Movement. Of course, we used to be a CANZUK Movement. We are now Commonwealth News. We think it's more striking. We think it's more bold. We think we're going to be able to talk about much more subjects, while of course still focusing heavily on the CANZUK Movement and also the brand new Aukus. I don't know how you quite say. Is it Aukus?
Aukus.
Aukus.
I'm sure we'll be corrected. Corrected.
So of course, the new Aukus agreement. We're not going to talk about that much in this episode. The next episode, which will be coming out in a couple of weeks, is going to be more about that agreement, and it's going to have a new co-host on who's going to talk about the new shipbuilding scheme in the UK. So it's going to be quite interesting. So that's all to come next time. But so what's going on in this episode? So in this episode, we are going to talk briefly on our new structure. So our new structure is going to be, we talk about some hot news that happened recently. We're going to then have a main story. We're going to have a few games between us. We're going to have our guests as always, and then finish it off with a second major story. But this week is all about Afghanistan. So to keep the mood light to start with, do you have anything to say, Laurence, about our new name change?
No, obviously I got my background here, Commonwealth News.
Yeah.
Forgot to mention that, didn't you?
Yeah, no, I did point out that.
No, Commonwealth News.
Oh, sorry.
We've got the new website up as well. So
yes, the new
go
website is
take a
now
look.
live. You can find it with commonwealth-news.com. You can also find it with CANZUKmovement.com, and you can still find it as thebroadcastcheck.com. So it all goes to the same site. So if you're still not quite like, oh, what is their name again? Is it now, what is it? You can still find it as CANZUKmovement.com. It's okay. But yeah, it's commonwealth-news.com. And it's up and good. Yeah, we're going to have some really cool stuff on there. We've got our articles which we're posting. We've partnered up with Daily Globe. We do some fantastic articles. We're going to be able to post some of theirs on our site, which is great. We've got our podcast, which is now in audio format. You can listen to this on Spotify. Brilliant.
So if you're listening on Spotify now, hello everybody on Spotify. Is that cheesy?
That's really cheesy.
Yeah.
So carrying on, you got a video podcast in a little. I think actually by next week we'll also have the merch store up and working, which will be good. And we've also got, whilst there's no additional content yet, the future looks to be include some subscription for additional content, bonus content. And if you want to support us, feel free just to give whatever you have. That hard-earned cash you can give to us, and we'll happily take it to boost this podcast and hopefully get it more regular. I do want to get it down from 2 weeks every fortnight. But enough about that. Let's get into it. So one of the top stories recently, of course, was the reshuffle. And we've got a fantastic article here by Sky News. And we're just going to quickly run through it. So Rishi Sunak, Priti Patel, and Sajid Javid all kept their roles as Chancellor, Home Secretary, and the Health Secretary. Ben Wallace is Defence Secretary. Grant Shapps is Transport Secretary. Kalwazi Karteng is the Business Secretary. Therese Coffey, I assume Therese Coffey, Work and Pension Secretary. George Eustace, Environmental Secretary. Alok Sharma, COP26 President. Brandon Lewis, Northern Ireland Secretary. Simon Hart is the Wales Secretary. Alistair Jacks, Scotland Secretary. Suella Braverman is the Attorney General. Lord Frost, Brexit Minister in the Cabinet Office. Mark Spencer, Chief Whip. Jacob Rees-Mogg, Commons Leader. Baroness Evans, Lords Leader. Kit Malthouse, Home Office and Ministry of Justice Minister, and will attend Cabinet. Michelle Donnellan is Minister of State at the Department for Education and will attend Cabinet as well. So there's quite a few promotions in here.
You got through that, didn't you?
I did get through that. Yeah, that was quite wordy.
So can we test you now then? If you close your eyes, I'll test you on
we cannot do that. So there's some graphics up here, and we were having a flick through earlier, and this is a bit of a mess because at some point they were going from the top is whoever they're talking about. Then it goes from the bottom, and it all messes up. But there's a lot of people who've been promoted, and of course there's a few people that have been demoted, as there's quite often is the case when someone gets promoted, someone does unfortunately have to get demoted, or they have left. Either way. But there's some interesting ones. So Liz Truss, of course, is now the Foreign Secretary. Very interested to see how this plays out. It's quite an important role.
Yeah.
And Michael Gove, this photo makes me crack it all up every time I see it. It's just like, I don't know what it is.
Do you reckon that was taken after one of his nights out that we've seen recently on the news?
I don't know. He's just like, oh, yeah. It just seems quite calm, doesn't he? But yeah, so this, of course, one of the top stories recently. And yeah, quickly glazed over that. Do you have any comments to make about it at all, Laurence?
Yeah, is it coffee or coffee?
Coffee or coffee? I assume coffee. Please
I've just got
don't
this
pull me up on something I should have probably checked.
Got this thing in my head of you going into Starbucks and I'll have a
coffee.
I'll have a white coffee.
Please, can I have an all black coffee? Really, sound really, really posh, isn't it?
I'll have to type it in Google on these things. Either way, we know who it is, but yeah. I mean, I think with some of those, there were obviously talks in the news and things, weren't they, that they thought people would go in. There were some that were in the news we thought were going and didn't go, which was surprising. And there was some obviously that did go that we did expect. And again, there was some surprise names on there that did go. So, but that's a reshuffle for you, innit? You never know quite what's going to happen.
And did you see story number 2? Did you see this in the news? The Met Gala happened.
Oh, Emma, whatever her name is, went to that, didn't she, after winning the US Open?
Yes, although that's not what we're here to talk about. So,
whilst we're mentioning her, let's just say that we finally got an English person for years winning a tennis tournament other than Wimbledon.
Yes, that's true. Actually,
so
do you have the fact right in front of you of when someone last won the US Open from the English?
I do not, but I know it was quite a while ago, wasn't it? Because she was there at the final. So, yeah. No.
Well, thank you for that input. It was half useful, half not. But regardless, so we got a BBC article about the Met Gala, and what a hilarious waste of time this is. I was thinking the whole thing with the costumes, it looks like something straight out of Hunger Games. Do you know what I mean?
What is the Met Gala? What is the Met Gala?
It's essentially this like crazy fashion show where celebrities all go because they really want attention on themselves. Like, okay. I mean, that's the whole point of why people are celebrities, and it's a lot to do with you want that attention and to give. I saw a really good, I can't remember who it was, but a comedian talked about it. You're essentially giving yourself, you're giving like comedy, you're giving jokes for attention, and you're giving your skill for attention. But regardless, all for money. But regardless, it just looks like something straight out of the Hunger Games. You got like these silly costumes that are way over the top.
Wow,
like absolutely ridiculous.
Some of these look like they haven't even finished getting dressed yet.
I mean, the Grimes mask there looks like what's that film? Oh no, you must be able to think of that film. The film is apocalyptic. They're on like the crazy cars and stuff. Mad Max. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like a Mad Max mask, isn't it? But regardless, everyone's like dressed up really crazy, and it's £30,000 a ticket.
What?
Yeah, £30,000 a ticket. Of course, we got the patriarchy. People like to make their point. It's quite hilarious wearing a tax the rich dress at a £30,000 ticket event.
It's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
So even things like the Oscars and the Emmys and things like that, it's just getting too political, isn't it? People get up there, say your thank yous, say thanks to your parents, to your family, to your colleagues, and just get off the stage. I mean, nobody's interested.
Ricky Gervais opening for the Golden Globes, which is
anything really now.
Absolutely brilliant. That was an incredible thing. He's like, what's he say? He said, now when you come up on stage, don't be political. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. Come up here, thank your family, thank your friends, thank your God, and then just off. And it cuts to Tom Hanks's face. It's just absolute disgust.
It's just getting too political, isn't it? that's not what I watch TV or film about. I just watch a film, so I want to forget about all that sort of stuff. I just want to be entertained. So the last thing I want is some A-listers up there telling me to vote for and who not to vote for, etc.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. No one watches, well, the thing is, most people don't watch award shows anymore, do they?
It's true.
They had really, really bad ratings at the last one. Here we go. Here's his disgust face.
Yeah.
Which turned into an instant meme overnight. But no, it's just, no one watches that kind of stuff. You don't want to see politics and everything. If you want to see politics, you watch something political. It's be like you don't watch this to see an award show because you won't get one. So if you watch this, you get some basic level of understanding of politics from Laurence, some small little insights. Yeah, just a small little insights and a little grasp of what's going on around the world. You will not be able to see you will not be able to see an award show here. Just like when you watch an award show, you shouldn't see a political speech. Essentially, it almost turns into a Democratic rally in America.
Well, yeah. No, it is like that.
Yeah, well, of course it is. And then you also got, where is it? Story number 3. Oof. We got loads of stuff up on my screen right now. Story number 3 is one of my favorite stories at the moment, which is the UK and Australia and the US. UK, Australia, and US agree a partnership to boost defenses and share nuclear submarine secrets. Fantastic.
Well, that's any of the French listener now just switched off, isn't it? So
yes,
just lost 2 viewers there.
It was quite funny to see the French reaction. At the end of the day, we should be wanting to ally up against the potential threat of the communist Chinese government, especially as what they're doing, as we've discussed with many guests on the show about the South China Seas and turn it into airfields. So I think it's very important to be making sure we've got the best submarines available. And obviously, Australia thought the UK and US had better submarines. What can you say about it?
Well, yeah, and it's making sure allies have got the machinery in that, isn't it, to protect themselves as well. So, no, absolutely. I mean, compared to, Australia haven't got any nuclear submarines at the moment, have they? So, obviously, that's why one of the reasons this deal is put into place. But the Americans have got crazy amounts compared to us.
Oh, yeah, the amount they have.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's crazy. Let me just, I can see if I can get that up if you like. I do have that somewhere. So
testing you now.
Here we are. So this is the agreement, of course.
Yeah.
And if you just buy me some time, do you want to buy me some time?
Yeah. What shall I tell you a joke?
Yeah, go on tell a joke.
What do you call a man with no shins?
I don't know. What do you call a man with no shins?
Tony.
What is that meant to be funny?
Because he's got no shin, so it goes to his toe to his knee. So he's called... when you have to explain it, it's not worth it, is it?
Well, to be honest,
one of our viewers has got it somewhere.
Asking you now. But thank you very much. You bought some time, which was enough for me to get it up, which is here. So, is it on screen now? No, it's not. There we are.
Hey, here we go.
So, yeah, this is the list. So, who's this sourced by? I don't know who the source is by, but apparently China's got about 15 nuclear-powered submarines. Most of their submarines are diesel. The US has got an obscene amount of nuclear-powered submarines. Nuclear-powered submarines are so much better than, of course, the diesel-generated submarines. It's with speed, with the amount of time they can spend underwater. Just everything about them is a lot better. The China, to invade if they were dealing with the West, they would need a lot of aircraft carriers. They only got 2 aircraft carriers, whereas America's got 11. We have 2, and Australia doesn't have any, but that's fine because we bolster that. 11 aircraft carriers means the US could pretty much naval invade, just absolutely bombard China if anything was to happen. But however, China does make up for that with they got no cruisers, but they do have quite a few destroyers and frigates and corvettes.
How many's up? Oh, gosh, yeah.
which most of us, we don't have. We need to really bolster the small ships. There's not much use having an aircraft carrier without the small ships. You need that support. We have some of the best destroyers in the world, which we'll talk about in the next episode, because the new co-host is absolutely really hot on his shipbuilding. But I think we do need to bolster the Navy a little bit when you look at this. Is because if we have a destroyer sank or a few frigates sank, then there's shanked. Then
not sure if that's how you destroy them.
Yeah, then our aircraft carriers they're out of commission then because they don't have the defense.
Yeah.
So it is of course a big concern, but this agreement does make it a lot safer for us all in the long term.
Until they build more, obviously, but
yes. Which brings us on to our first game, which you've got to take full control of.
Ooh, right.
Nice. Guess the headline.
Hey,
with your favorite quiz master, Laurence Marshall.
Favorite. Let's see the bit in favorite. I should have put that in bold. Right. So. Let me explain the rules. Quite explanatory. I will show you part of a headline. You have to guess what the blank is. All
Lovely.
right. So
everyone play along at home.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Forget me if I pronounce this wrong. Michigan parents owe son $30,441 for blank.
Firstly, what were you going to get wrong there? What were you going to pronounce wrong?
Is it Michigan? Michigan?
Yeah, it's Michigan.
Yeah.
You're fine there. Michigan parents owe some $30,441 for. Give me a clue. Have you got a clue for this?
No. Didn't know that was part of the idea.
Well, can you give me a clue for it?
It's something. They did something to something he owned.
I think I know this one. They destroy his porn collection. Toss an outpriced porn collection. Yes. I've seen this one.
Let me just say, that must be an extreme amount of it. Or
that's
like
absolutely ridiculous.
Or is it like Pokemon cards where if you've got a shiny, it's worth like loads more money? Has he got like a shiny magazine or something that's worth like 30K?
He's got this ultra rare one that's dates back from the 1980s.
What? That's what I mean. I mean that is a lot in it. So
wow,
yeah.
$30,000. Do we have a picture of what I guess no, because it was tossed out, wasn't it?
And also, I'm not sure.
Just imagine, right?
Not sure we can get that through the YouTube filter.
You get the newspaper, and then you look at your newspaper, and you see that on the newspaper, your son is suing you. And it's got you. It's got pictures of you, pictures of him, and then it says $30,000 worth of porn.
I read that wrong as well then.
Where did I go wrong? I
thought it said David twerking, but it's not. It's David Workings, isn't it? Right, so you got that one. That was good. Let's go to the next one.
It's films, magazines, and other items. Just
crazy. So, headline 2. Nun caught blank next to graveyard.
Oh, nun caught.
Think out of the box.
Burglar?
Oh, it could be. I'll let me go with that, but no.
Murderer?
No.
Oh, and you're going to need a clue.
It's got something to do with maybe somebody, but not.
Well, thanks.
Not the body.
A head?
No.
Legs?
No. Did you give up?
Yeah. Feet? Nun caught dancing with a skeleton. That's not a real skeleton, is it?
I hope not. No, and then look at the dog, though. There's a dog, skeleton dog as well.
Skeleton before playing with one that looked like a dog, according to eyewitnesses. Gosh, you'd be creeped out, wouldn't you?
She ain't got a spade either, so I don't know where she's got them from. Unless she brings them in just to scare people. I don't know. Weird, isn't it? Can you imagine going to see like a relative on their like the gravestone or something? You just seeing this nun.
And you just turn around, and you just see. Well, that's something that would give you nightmares.
Yeah, tell me about it. Right, next one.
It was a dog got something in its mouth there. He's got a stick in its mouth.
Yeah, another bone.
Yeah.
It's probably got the skeleton's leg in his mouth, thinking it's a bone.
Yeah. Actually, I think you're right there. I think it is the skeleton's leg. Can you see? It looks like the skeleton's. You got the skeleton's leg and the skeleton's knee.
Yeah, weird, isn't it?
Bending down. Oh, that is. Yeah. Anyway, next.
So
I'm
talking
1-2 at the moment.
Yeah, talking blank learns to say blank.
It's going to be like cat or dog or something, isn't it? Talking dog learns to say hello.
Talking duck learns to say
bloody fool. Right. What the Metro? How the Metro? Seriously, is this? What is happening to our newspapers?
They're obviously short on news, aren't they?
Oh, Jesus Christ. 37 shares. Who's sharing this? Well, I guess technically you've shared it. You shared it with our viewership. Jesus.
Yeah, it's true.
The Metro, come on, guys.
So, yeah,
please tell me you got the video, though.
No.
No?
I couldn't find it. It's probably on Google somewhere, isn't it?
Find it. Okay,
no.
Well, if we find it, I'll pop it on in post.
We'll whack it in now.
Yes, yeah. Right. Just give it 5 seconds. Right, we either played it or we didn't. So there's nothing more I can say. Right, number 4.
As you can tell, this is well versed, isn't it? Right, what was it? Oh, yeah. I lost my marriage and my job after.
They found out I have $30,000 worth of porn. I lost my marriage and my job after I lost my... After I taught a duck to say, what was it?
Bloody fool or something like that,
wasn't
it?
Gosh, can I get a clue? I feel silly constantly asking for clues.
How would I clue to this one? Something out of this world.
No, it's something like an asteroid or something. I named an asteroid something. Aliens abducted and put an implant. I'm like, right. And this is the second guess should be what article posted. The Daily Star. I'm pretty sure the Daily Star is maybe a reputable. Reputable. I'm pretty sure it's meant to be a well-respected newspaper.
But it's the Daily Star. Yeah.
A man who claims he had been abducted by aliens hundreds of times has suggested that his perspective on life changed significantly after a supposed abduction left him with an implant in his arm.
Wow. All right, listen, next one. Right.
Honestly, what is going on?
Woman banned from zoo after...
Woman banned from zoo after... So, having worked at a zoo kind of safari, I'm aware people can get banned because they got out in the lion enclosure. Honestly, when I was there, I heard about this family. They drove through the safari, right? They got to the big cat enclosure. Now, it's a drive-through safari, so you drive your own cars through. And it's a big sign saying, watch out, they'll like eat you. Like when you get to the big cat thing, don't close your windows because they'll break through. So you got to keep everything closed.
Which is quite obvious, really, isn't it?
They opened their window and tried feeding the lions with some meat.
Was it like slices of ham or something?
I can't remember what it was now, but yeah, they tried
Chicken
feeding them
skewers.
slices of meat.
Oh my days!
They got a serious telling off.
Like most people look at those signs like.
If I remember it rightly, I think they got out as well and tried feeding it some meat. The police got involved and stuff. It was a right mess. It was a right mess.
Like most people look at the sign saying "Don't feed the lions" as like, well, that's obvious, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Why do you even need that sign? But clearly, for the 1 out of 10, 1 out of 100 person who tries to.
Honestly, it's ridiculous, mate. It's ridiculous.
So what do you reckon this one is?
Yeah, going back to the question. After I don't know. I do not know. 4-year affair with chimp. He loves me, and this is the Express. Wow. So what? She would used to go up to the window and just kiss the window. It looks like Sharon Osbourne.
Unless she was one of those people who sort of got into enclosure.
She looks a bit like Sharon Osbourne from behind there.
Don't start rumours.
Yeah. A woman a woman has been banned from visiting her beloved chimp because the zoo says the relationship is making him an outcast among other chimps. Oh my God. So they didn't get banned that she kept coming in and kissing it and pretending that they're in love. They got banned because the other chimp started going, wait, mate, what are you doing?
He's getting picked on by his mates.
Why are you kissing her over there? What are you doing?
What I want to know is, how did she know it was that one the whole time? How do you know she wasn't like, she might have been having an affair with a couple of chimps?
Oh yeah, they might have been different ones.
Maybe they're fighting, they're getting jealous, I don't know.
Yeah, that's why he was an outcast. They're like, oh, I was with her last week, mate. I kissed her last week.
So I think that was the last one, actually.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I haven't got any more slides.
And on that news, let's head over to our guest. Welcome. Today's guest is from New Zealand National Party, representing Hamilton East. It's David Bennett MP. So welcome to our show, Commonwealth News, and thank you very much for coming on and sticking around for our technical difficulties that we just had.
No worries. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, appreciate it very much. So, so obviously we got listeners and watchers from across the globe, and in some countries hearing the word National Party is alarm bells and they think of the far right. Obviously that's not the case in New Zealand. The National Party is the second largest party, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's essentially what other countries would call social conservative or conservative party.
Yeah, we're the equivalent of the Conservative Party in the UK or the Liberals in Australia. And yeah, it's on the centre right of the political spectrum. Yeah.
Yep. Yes, that's all good. Then we got that cleared up. That's fine. So,
yeah.
As I've explained to you, we like to start with some broad questions about CANZUK and the Commonwealth and progress to your political career. And then to show that politicians aren't robots, as some people think, we finish with some personal questions. So the big question that's always on people's minds when we do our shows is, do you support CANZUK, the agreement? If not, why? Or if you do, why as well?
Yeah, I think it'd be great if we can get those countries together, primarily for a trade focus for us. We want to increase our trading links with Canada and the UK. There's the possibility of a free trade agreement with the UK coming in the near future anyway, so that's under negotiation. So we expect that to be signed and sealed soon. We've already got basically open trade with Australia, but Canada we don't have such a strong relationship with on a trade basis, and that's really our gain out of it.
Yeah, so it'd be beneficial for you, beneficial for the rest of the population. Do you see it as fantasy, or do you see it as reality? Is it possible with your current leadership in New Zealand?
Under the current leadership, I don't see it happening. They're not pro-free trade or connections with other countries like that. The big issue for us isn't really the UK or Australia. Australia, we've also already got free trade. UK, we will have reasonable free trade soon. It's Canada, and they've got a very strong dairy sector, and that's our primary industry here is dairying. And they always find a bit of a difficulty in coming to a trade arrangement with us because of that industry.
Yeah, because I've seen you recently spoke out about the land transport plan that Labour's produced. What is your issues with it?
Well, there's a real focus on walking and cycling, which, we need to have a balanced transport plan. You need that in any country. But New Zealand's quite, with the size of the UK, basically, and we've only got 5 million people.
It's very
so you can imagine,
as well.
you can imagine that they're spread out, and, roads are the general way of transport. We haven't got 10 million people in London where you can have a decent tube system, they're pretty spread out. So public transport here, we invest a lot of money in it, but it's not as many people use it as the roads because of the spread out nature of our country.
Well, the problem is it's not very practical, is it? So there's a big push over here as well, is that people want almost everyone to commute by train or by bike. And the problem with that is you don't have that flexibility or that freedom with you where you do with a car. So you wouldn't be able to go off somewhere different after work. You'd have to specifically go back home, get sorted, then go back out, kind of thing, which I always think is a bit of a tricky one. I'm not too sure why people keep pushing it. I don't know if they don't realize the difficulties that some people face, especially people on the lower income. Quite often they're reliant on their 1996 Golf or something like along those lines. They need their car, and they just can't. Especially with if you're picking up children as well. That's another issue that people don't think about. You can't pick up your children from school on the train that easily as you would with a car. But I don't know if it's Laurence has got a question about this, actually, about the current climate.
Have I?
Yes, there he is.
I was going to ask, actually, before I asked that, you mentioned you had a few million. Do you reckon that's the fact that you've not got as many people sort of in the UK so close together, that's why you've been able to handle sort of COVID better, I guess? And
yeah, totally. Because we're an island, and the UK is an island as well, but the issue that we've got is that we're at the bottom of the world, and most people coming here go through Australia. So Australia is like a first border, and they've been very strict on COVID, and that's enabled New Zealand as the second border to be even stricter. So fortunate that we've got very dispersed population. COVID goes really well in high population centres, when people are very close to each other, like you've seen in Europe and America and countries like that. But in New Zealand, where the population's dispersed, we're at the bottom of the world, so it's delayed getting here from the rest of the world, and you've also got Australia that effectively is a border in front of you that's got similar properties as we've got in small population for the area. It's meant that New Zealand and Australia have been lucky. Delta's changing that, though. If you look at what's happening in Australia, they're moving into a suppression approach to COVID now, which before they had a similar elimination strategy as us. So with Delta being so transmissible, that's changed the attitude in Australia, and it's becoming inevitable. You'll see the same here as well.
So how's the vaccine sort of rolling out, going over there? We've got most of our people vaccinated over here in the UK now, haven't we? Apart from quite a lot of the young haven't decided to take it up yet. How's it going in New Zealand?
Pretty much the same. We were a little bit late starting the vaccine rollout because the government they've been pretty tardy around that, and also the fact that New Zealanders didn't really perceive the issue until Delta really reared its head, because they thought they were dealing with
of COVID. Did you down there? So.
Nah, and Delta meant that transmissibility is so much quicker. So things were a little bit slower here, and the government just didn't pay the money to get the vaccines early enough. And our rates are going up, but they're still not at a level which you would be able to have open communities like you are in America and in England at the moment. If Delta got away on us.
Significantly lower than what we've got here. Like, you got a much lower death rate, you got much lower infection rate. I know you've had quite strict lockdowns. Does that have much of an impact on your economy, on independent businesses and jobs?
Yeah, it has. We've had one really strict lockdown at the first 18 months ago when COVID came in, and then we've effectively had 12 months of no COVID. So that's why all your rates are so low, because there just was none in the community for a long period of time. There were isolated outbreaks, but it was very small and easy to manage. This is the second big lockdown we've had in 18 months, and it's effectively just in Auckland at the moment. So that's a quarter of our population is sort of in Auckland. So it's basically just one city at the moment, and the rest of the country is pretty much functioning. Yeah. The economy, everyone expected to have taken a hit, but because the government's been slushing around so much money, that it's kept it going, and it's actually been more vibrant than people had anticipated. Okay. And as an export economy too, we export food effectively. That's our number one thing, and that's still been able to continue.
Got a lot of
so we haven't lost our export income. Yeah.
So you mentioned obviously they've slashed a lot of money. Does that mean that things like the taxes are going to have to go up? Like we've seen in England, we've seen sort of national insurance is going to be going up next year, and income taxes.
That was for adult social care. So taxes may also go up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the moment, it's been a bit of a drug run here. Basically, everyone's on a high. They don't really anticipate how to pay for it yet.
Yeah.
And it's just been borrowed. So the debt's just mounting up. We started with very low debt as a country. New Zealand's always consistently had low debt because we don't have the robust economy of, say, the UK, which you can sustain a higher debt level. And this is the first time we've gone into the high debt levels that you've seen in other countries. And it remains to be seen how that's going to play out in the next couple of years. But at some point, somebody's going to have to pay it back.
Yeah. So at the moment, there's no plan in action about repaying this. It's just increasing, and everyone's trying to look away from it. Just try to keep away. They don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Which actually brings me on to a question I want to ask about. So I saw reports that the Prime Minister, she was cutting her pay 20%, but I saw reports saying that this didn't actually happen. Is it true that it did happen or didn't happen?
No, it did, and all of us had a pay cut, but it was a pay freeze and a cut, so it was all MPs as well, and it did happen, so that's not really an issue. It was more symbolic, like it might have saved a little bit of money, but that's nothing compared with how much government spends on other things, So we're pretty cheap compared with what else the government spends, but it was a symbolic thing at the time, and nobody's been too worried about it.
Yeah, because I was quite shocked to find that actually the Prime Minister of New Zealand is paid almost double what the UK Prime Minister receives before as just a set salary. I didn't realise that the New Zealand Prime Minister is actually paid quite a decent amount. It's quite a nice salary.
Yeah, well, I'm not aware of what Boris gets paid, but sounds like it's less than. Yeah. But the thing is that relative to what someone in the private sector or the government sector, a government department head here would get, say, 3 or 4 times what she gets paid, for running a really big government department. So it's not a job where there's any financial rewards, you could say.
You don't do it for the money, though, do you? If you're doing it for the money, you're doing it for the wrong reasons, aren't you, really?
Yeah, and you'd never last if you did it for that reason. Yeah.
We got the Samaritan over here called Laurence.
Yeah, no, all good. He must be a Chelsea supporter.
No, I don't. I'm a Liverpool supporter.
Oh,
I'm only saying that because obviously we have spent no money whatsoever in the Premier League. So don't get me started.
Are you a Chelsea supporter then?
You a Chelsea?
I am. I am.
Where's the
Chelsea and Tottenham.
Chelsea and Tottenham. You got two.
Can't support them both.
Yeah, you can.
So when they play each other, who do you support?
Well, that's going to be interesting this weekend, isn't it? So
Chelsea will win it, unfortunately, but
whoever wins it, you support. Whichever one wins.
Exactly. You can't lose, mate. You can't lose. As long as you beat one of the red teams, Liverpool and those.
Well, one of the red teams. I'm a United fan, so I don't agree with that at all.
Oh, you're a United fan too. Yeah. You guys had a bad run though.
Well, not this season. It's
Last
going
8
okay.
years, is it?
Yeah, and Ronaldo's back. That's huge news, getting Ronaldo back.
I know, but then what happened in the last game, mate? You guys...
Good place to retire at, Man United, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where do retirees go there?
These shirt sales, regardless, are going to go through the roof. I want that Ronaldo shirt.
Yeah, no, they are. Yeah.
It's always good.
You're a rugby fan then as well, I take it?
I'm actually more of a football fan than a rugby fan. Yeah. So, we're in the Waikato, which is heartland rugby here. But, there's still some good football supporters here too. So who
you should support in the World Cup then? Because New Zealand haven't got a team, have they? Or
we don't get very far. I do like...
They haven't got a team.
I'd like to see England actually win. It's England's time. They should have won the European Cup. So hopefully
don't get me started on that. I can go on for half an hour.
Hideous.
But you've got the perennial favourites like Brazil and that are always good players, but and the French and that. But it'd be quite good to see the Dutch or the Croats or someone like that get up there one day.
Yeah. Well, I've never had this opportunity before to speak to a New Zealander. So, do you follow Australian football at all? Does that come over to New Zealand? It does come over. Yeah.
It's a difference. It's like a different shaped ball or something, is it?
Here's a tough question. Which one do you prefer? That or football? UK football.
Football.
Yeah.
That's good. So I'm conscious of time. Obviously, I know you're very busy today. Yeah. So we'll just wrap up with a couple more questions. The personal questions that I said about at the beginning. What do you do in your spare time? What do you get up to?
I'm a farmer, so behind me you see a cow.
Yes.
So dairy farmer. So do a little bit of that, and just enjoy getting out on the land and things like that. Yeah. Getting out of the office and no phone calls.
Yes, out on the farm. Because I saw you got 2 farms, don't you? Is that right?
Yeah, got a couple of farms. Yeah.
Wow. So do you like to be what we call off-grid sometimes, where you just literally no communication, just sort of...
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
There's a big smile with that. Yeah, love it. So do you have favourite songs? Do you have favourite movies, anything like that? What would you take?
My movies are all war films, so, like Platoon and things like that. Yeah. So, that generation, the mid-'80s, so that's what we grew up with. My music taste is always attacked for being very pathetic, but I will admit this, and Pet Shop Boys and that my generation are the top. And,
I thought you were going to say Taylor Swift or something then. I was going to say, it seemed like a Taylor Swift.
Pet Shop Boys.
Yeah.
And I know you guys
first, guys.
But nobody would know who they were, but,
David Bennett's MP's favourite song is from the Pet Shop Boys.
Yes.
What about TV shows?
Netflix?
You follow any TV shows at the moment?
Well, we just got Sky here, so we haven't. But the best one I saw on Netflix recently was the Americans. That was really good. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that one? It's about the Russian spies in America.
Oh, wow.
Great.
Oh, I think I've seen it on the thing.
And it's where they implant them into American community, so they grow up as kids to become
like a sleeper agent kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly the same thing. And really great series. It was about 2 or 3 years ago on Netflix. It goes for ages, like it's got about 3 or 4 series of it, but it's very addictive, and that's been my favourite.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. I've not heard of that one. It's quite good. Every time we do these interviews, we always learn different TV shows that we haven't seen.
What about The Crown? Yes. Have you ever seen The Crown? Have you got that?
Yeah, I've never really got into that. No, the Americans are much better. That's more our sort of thing, just a bit of espionage and, the good old Russian-American fight,
Yeah. The Cold War.
Talking of The Crown, what's the New Zealanders' views on the whole royal family debacle at the minute? Was obviously
Here we go again. He always asks this.
Royal couple, what it is, and obviously you've got Prince Andrew, haven't you? Which we won't go into much detail, but what's the view on the monarchy over there in New Zealand?
Well, we love the Queen, and we really support the monarchy. It's one of the big things England's got. It's got the Premier League and it's got the monarchy and a few things like that. So like it's part of being English. It's part of being part of the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
So no, we support the Queen. They've got their personal issues in their family, just like any family has. So that's not the end of the world. We don't
just really in the newspapers, isn't it? It's unfortunate.
Yeah, and we don't get caught up in that. But I think and you've got the next generation coming through with Prince William. That he's very well thought of here as well. So I would imagine that they'll be in good standing for a long time to come.
Oh, sorry. I thought of one. Obviously, Laurence has got the final question that he asks everyone. We'll come to that in a second. But I just got one more question I want to ask. I've seen that New Zealand are potentially looking at changing their name. Is this going to happen? Do you know?
We tried to change the flag when we were in government about 4 years ago, and that would take the Union Jack off and have more of a New Zealand type silver fern type flag. That wasn't successful because the Labour Party cobwashed it, even though they would have actually supported it if they had been in government. So
typical,
it got political. Yeah. But the change in name isn't so likely to be put in front of the public. I think there'd be more resistance to that. But effectively, what you're seeing is a lot of official documents. A lot of people on TV when they speak and things like that now are saying Aotearoa in New Zealand, so they're putting both together.
Oh, really?
So you're seeing that subliminal change that's happening. There are some people that are against that, and there are some people that aren't too worried about it, and I'm in the camp, but I'm not too worried, like in the end, things like that all transition in our country as we develop as a country over time. So, I think it's inevitable there will be more of that movement as our population changes and our demographics change. But, it's not going to be a hard and fast change. I think it'll be over time.
Okay. That's interesting.
Right. So let's move on to the last question, which is the most controversial question we have to ask, isn't it? Are you a hater or a lover of Marmite?
I'm pretty neutral, but probably I'd be on the
probably the
hater side.
Yes.
I'm a good jam or honey person,
yes,
probably
jam.
more than
I'm all about the jam.
Marmite is good on taste.
I go into work and they've got a jam sandwich and they laugh at me. But there's nothing
jam
better
sandwich,
than
good
jam
idea.
sandwich.
No, nothing wrong with that.
What you should try, I'll probably get loads of hate for this, is I used to try to eat toast with Marmite on with sweet corn.
Oh.
It's quite nice.
No. Where'd you get that one from?
That's
I just thought I'd try it. When I was younger, we used to try different foods, and I used to make different drinks and things together, and sometimes it used to make me sick, but I just thought I'd try it, and it worked. It tastes quite nice.
I don't recommend it. For everyone's health and safety, do not try that at home.
No.
But on that disgusting note, we'll end it there. Yeah. Thank you so much for sticking around. We had some issues to get into the call, but it's been brilliant. Thank you. Have a good day. And thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Have fun over there, right? Take care. See ya. Bye-bye.
So yes, that was our guest, David Bennett MP from New Zealand. Fantastic. As always, another great guest, really good interview, great fun, and really good laugh. So we have had multiple guests from Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Coming up, we have an American, and we also have a British guest. So we're starting to get quite nicely around the globe. We've got international, yes, and we're looking for more and more. Just getting a range of people from all different walks of life, all different areas, and just seeing what their thoughts are on various things.
What I can't believe is that he wasn't a Marmite lover.
Well, a lot of people aren't, so you got to get used to it.
Another one for you, tally. If we did a tally,
it is. Yeah, I will do some really cool graphic or something where it's like boom, boom, boom. And it shows the score.
I need to have a word with the booking team to make sure that they get somebody on it next who loves Marmite.
It's got to specify, are you a Marmite lover or not?
Yeah.
Right, so this is going to bring us on to discussing the main topic today, which of course is Afghanistan. Should we have a look at what President Donald Trump's plan was for leaving? I've got that here. Back. So we start with this. I think that's a good place to start. So this was the agreement for bringing peace to Afghanistan between the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, which is not recognized by the United States as a state and is known as the Taliban, the United States of America. Now, this plan is really serious, but my gosh, it says this all the time. So here you go. With the commitment and action on the obligations of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, which is not recognized by the United States as a state and is known as the Taliban. Right, what was the agreement? Is
this just a summary of the agreement, or is this the actual whole agreement?
This is the agreement. This is the agreement that is part of the State Department. It's from state.gov. So
because my first observations there is it's only 4 pages.
Well, I don't think you need it really long. But the point was that guarantees and enforcement mechanisms that will prevent the use of the soil of Afghanistan by any group or individual against the security of the United States and its allies. Guarantees enforcement mechanisms and announcement of a timeline for the withdrawal of all foreign forces from Afghanistan. So after the announcement of guarantees for complete withdrawal of foreign forces and timeline, in the presence of international witness and guarantees and the announcement in the presence of international witnesses that Afghan soil will not be used against the security of the United States and its allies. So it goes on about quite strictly about what the agreement would be is that we will not allow terrorism to be taking place in Afghanistan, essentially. So it goes on and on about the order, the way that stuff will be done. Now, the reason why I'm looking at this is you go through all this stuff. It's going through all the way that they will reduce the number of US forces in Afghanistan to 8,600 soldiers and proportionally bring reduction in the number of its allies and coalition forces. Then it goes the United States, its allies, and the coalition will withdraw all their forces from 5 military bases. And we keep going. So then we'll complete withdrawal of all remaining forces from Afghanistan within the 9.5 months. And the United States, its allies, and the coalition will withdraw all the forces from remaining bases. One thing I did just skip, and that is the key reason of why I skipped it, is this stuff was maybe the very last thing to be done. So removing the US forces from Afghanistan and finally withdrawing all the forces from the 5 military bases is meant to come after the United States is committed to withdraw from Afghanistan all military forces of the United States, its allies, and coalition partners, including all non-diplomatic civilian personnel, private security, contractors, trainers, advisors, support and services personnel with 14 months following the announcement of this agreement, and will take the following measures in this regard. Everyone was supposed to be pulled out before soldiers were. That's not what happened. Biden pulled the soldiers out before and had to redeploy people because of the Taliban progress.
Because in there, what was it say, 9 months, does it? Was it something about 9 months?
Yes.
Regardless of when the 9 months is, 9 months is enough time to get as many people out as possible, isn't it? Slowly, sort of.
Yes. Well,
it was coming.
After the panic, we saw how quick we could get a load of people out. We could get tens of thousands of people out very, very quick. So that's not the issue. The issue is that the military was withdrawn before the civilians, and then the military had to be put back in, which is ludicrous. The very last thing that should be leaving a military conflict is the military. You better get everyone out safe first. And the soldiers know this is going to happen. Everyone is aware that should happen. But for some reason, President Biden ignored all these orders, or ignored the orders from the generals. He ignored the advice of everyone with common sense that you bring out the military last. And they just brought out way too much that they couldn't keep hold of the airport safely. And it became a thing where the US were speaking to the Taliban, handing them names of civilians and handing them names of security personnel that were going to come through on a bus, which is ludicrous to get permission for that bus to come through. I can't believe this has happened.
And all of the people who, over the 20 years, have helped us out, haven't they? Sort of been our allies.
Yeah, absolutely.
People have had to stay over, then ultimately some of them are going to get killed, aren't they? A lot of them.
Well, some of these translators did incredible things, and they probably saved countless American, US, and Allied lives. The American, UK, and Allied lives. Like, it's unbelievable the amount of people they could have saved just through translation. But going back to that, so one other thing that was meant to happen was that if the Taliban advanced, whilst this was still going on, at some point in the agreement, the idea was that the US was just going to leave Afghanistan to its own devices. So if I can't see if I can find it here now, but part of the agreement was that the America would no longer interfere in what's going on in Afghanistan. But this was meant to take place after America had left, not whilst America had left. So what Trump had threatened to do was if the Taliban advanced, he would assist the Afghanis. He would assist the Afghani army. And we've actually got a little clip of this. Let me put it on.
But also, surely if they did anything, that they've then broken the agreement anyway, haven't they? So the agreement's then void.
Well, that's the part of it, isn't it? It's that they weren't supposed to do anything. Like, obviously, we all agree that we shouldn't be constantly the world's police. Like, we all shouldn't be the world's police. But the main thing was that they were meant, if anything was going to happen, it should happen once we got everyone out safely. They advanced, and Biden didn't follow through with Trump's threats. And let me just play this video here.
Russia is Russia now, not the Soviet Union, because of Afghanistan. So they fight. I said, we're going to come back and hit you harder. And I said, do you understand? He goes, ah. He's a rough guy, you know. I started off the conversation. I said, Mohammed, how are you? President Trump. Rah! Not a lot of social grace, but, you know, that was he was being nice. I think he was being as nice as he could be, Andy. But they're rough, you know, that's all they do is fight. But I said, we're going to come back and hit you harder than any country has ever been hit. And your village, where I know you are, and where you have everybody, that's going to be the point at which the first bombs drop. I told him that. Poor.
So I don't know if you caught that at the end then. He actually said that they would go for the leader's village. That'll be the very first place where they drop bombs. Like, it's a serious threat, and one that was just not carried through. And obviously that meant that the Taliban advanced quite freely, and the Afghanis gave up arms, which ultimately meant that the Taliban just completely swept through the country, and we weren't able to start getting people out soon enough, which is just kind of, it's just a huge mess. And
again, we should have started getting people out a lot earlier, shouldn't we? I mean, we may have started the process, but I mean, the fact that we were left to a week, 2 weeks, however long it was, to get everybody out and our troops, just absolutely crazy. And we still didn't get everybody out, did we?
No, there's still people stuck there. But what's also outrageous is the amount of equipment that's stuck there. So so if I go here, so where are we? So there is a big list here. So there's 42,604 light tactical vehicles still over there. 22,174 Humvees. 2 off 9,000 MTVs. 189 APCs, which is a total of 75,898. Now, not all of those are operational, but even if you say a quarter of them are operational, this puts the Taliban a massive advantage should anything happen again. We've then got 358,530 rifles. It's like M4 rifles, sniper rifles, all sorts. We've got shotguns, pistols, machine guns. Like, they are so kitted out, it's unbelievable. If you've seen the photos of them.
But I mean, that's what I mean. You've got 9 months. Surely whoever's in charge of logistics is saying, right, we've got to get all this equipment out. Yep, this absolutely. This is when our troops are going to come out, when you start getting this equipment out. Or destroy it, or whatever you're going to do.
Well, that's what was part of Trump's plan, was meant to be you either destroy the equipment, you either bring the equipment with you, or you destroy it. And we know that a lot of stuff is still operational, even if they claimed there wasn't. So they've got a bigger air fleet now than quite a few NATO countries. So they've got 23 A-29s, 10 AC-208s, 23 C-208s, 3 C-130s, an Mi-17, 32 of those, Black Hawks, 33 of those, 43 of the MD-530s, which is just crazy. So just to give you an idea what these actually look like, these are pretty hefty vehicles. Like proper attack helicopters, fighters, and massive transport planes. So
what we also don't know is where they're going to end up, because they could be, obviously they're going to be in Afghanistan, but they could also be sold to other...
This is the problem as well. We basically have to bank on the fact that the Taliban might be friendly to us. I mean, we've just spent how many years fighting them, and we've now got to rely on that they're friendly to us. Give this to ISIS, and they could kill so many people. They got the ability to carry out countless 9/11s with these aircrafts. They have a ridiculous amount of aircrafts now that they don't even have to arm them. They could just crash them into stuff. I just don't, and when they're trying to say that it's out of action, it's just a complete lie. You've seen this video of the black, they're doing a military parade and they're and they've got a Black Hawk flying over. I don't know how do they know how to fly this? That's what I want as well. Like, where did the person learn to fly that?
I think some of them, I read somewhere, I don't know where it was, but one of them was obviously captured from the Afghan army and stuff, and they're making them, because obviously some of them are trained with Air Force, to use some of this.
This is just upsetting to watch. Look at them all with the Humvees.
So cut long story short, we spend 20 years going in, end up giving them some of our equipment to then turn around and have to be friendly with them because they could use the equipment against us.
Yes, exactly. And obviously, we've most recently got the 13 US soldiers that died from the explosion. And then have you seen their ages? So we'll go through them all. I'll put the link in the description so you can read through all their names, what medals they've now been awarded, and a brief little history about them. So age-wise, we got 23, 20, I think this one, she was 25, 31, 22, 23, 22, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 22, 23, and there's one I'm missing somewhere. Oh, maybe it's 22 actually, that one. Yeah. Like, these people are ridiculously young, and they died. Some of them weren't even alive back when 9/11 happened, and the reason they went to a war.
Crazy, isn't it?
It's and there's no need. This was not combat death. This could have been entirely avoided.
And then, of course, it's completely different. But of course, we've now learned that obviously the Americans retaliated via drone strike, and that.
Yes, that's the next thing I was going to show you, which is just, they said it was a righteous strike, didn't they? That's what their General Milley, yes, I think it's General Milley, came out and said it's a righteous strike. They all say like it was really important. And the fact that it was, he posed an imminent threat to the US armed forces. We're pretty much, I think, all evacuations had almost taken place at this point. Like, I think we're only going to be there a couple more days. They've fired a drone strike, which kills 10 people, 3 adults, 7 children. And they're like, it was a righteous strike because it got the terrorist that was about to carry out an act. And it blew up a nearby car, which killed the children, which in itself is hideously outrageous. Like, it's absolutely disgusting that happened. And they say that there was bombs there, and which is the reason why the kids died. Only for us now to find out there was no terrorist. He was an aid worker. On top of that, he was a US aid worker that was driving people back and forth between work, and had just loaded up some water in his car to take to his family. There was no bomb. The drone strike killed the children as well.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's sad.
And to top it all off, the press can't, even though this was orchestrated by Biden, completely orchestrated by Biden, they're not getting any answer from him. They will not allow the staffers will not allow the press to talk to him. Here's a little video, most recent.
Interrupts or unbalances the Belfast Good Friday Accord. That's Belfast Good Friday Agreement. That's the.
Let's go. Thank you. What did he say?
I have no idea. I hope the microphone got it. I know.
Megan. British reporters get questions. We don't get any. Yeah, I saw that. The White House came out and blamed Boris for answering some of the questions without telling them, didn't they?
What? Doesn't make any sense, does it? So, but Boris was mid. Prime Minister Boris was mid. It's weird. We don't say Prime Minister Boris, do we? Really?
No.
We're like Boris. Whereas when it's about the president, you say President Biden, President Trump. But so Boris was mid finishing his sentence. Like he hadn't even finished it yet, and they cut him off, and they got everyone out. And you can hear afterwards, you can hear the US reporters complaining that it was only the UK reporters who got to ask questions to Boris, and then as soon as it was going to go over to some US reporters, they got ushered out.
It's crazy. But you think of when even Trump tried like getting people to pre-give him the questions or whatever before, which Boris Biden does now anyway. It's like complete people ripping into him in the press, and now he's like a dictatorship. On the other hand, we've got
Biden hasn't
a year later, Biden's done exactly the same thing, isn't he?
Biden hasn't had a press conference in a significant amount of time. So he has not answered any questions regarding this strike. No, they're not talking about it. This strike was murder. They murdered 10 people, 7 of which were children. This would not have flown a year ago. If this had happened with Trump in charge, they would have articles of impeachment would have been immediately on his desk. Media would be outraged everywhere. They would be screaming the poor children. They'll be showing pictures of them. It's just not. It's not happening. Like this is one of the single-handed most outrageous, most horrific acts that was carried out in the whole of the decades of war in Afghanistan. Like one of the worst ones.
What you've also got to think is, no matter what we think of Biden, something's not right, is it? Something's not right there. Yeah. Obviously, his memory's going, whether he's got, some people think he's got Alzheimer's, some people have got other stuff. So you do wonder sort of when these decisions are being made, what state of mind he's in at the time to making those decisions. Them.
But regardless, sooner or later, they're going to have to speak to the reporters about this.
Yeah, the thing is, the press have got every right to ask the questions, haven't they? And I mean, you look at Boris, he pretty much takes any question. He doesn't always answer it necessarily the right way the press want it, but he always takes those questions, doesn't he? He answers them, and sometimes he bumbles in a bit.
To stop him taking questions.
Yeah, I mean, somebody asked him a question about Nicki Minaj the other day. He didn't have a clue who she was, but he still answered the question, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't have it to hand, but there was another one where they actually... Biden goes to ask if he can take questions, and then the White House feed cuts. Like, there's so many examples of him going to try and take some questions, and then the White House feed cuts, so no one can see what he says. It's worrying. It's very concerning, and this thing's going on and on and on. And just like us, we're talking about it on and on and on. But I think we've covered quite a significant bit. And the way that I want to wrap up. Oh, you got something else?
No, I was just going to say one thing that got me as well was the fact that so obviously Trump's been banned from Twitter, hasn't he, and Facebook or whatever. But basically, the head of the Taliban still got a Twitter account. He's still allowed to tweet.
Yes. And you know what makes it even worse is I don't have it to hand, but I'm going to make it pop up on the screen. The Iranian leader or Iranian spokesperson, I think it was the Iranian leader, has a tweet where he says about eradicating, killing Jews, and it's on Twitter still.
It's crazy. Where the standards?
Otherwise, this bit's cut. If I've got it wrong, this bit's cut. But yeah, I'll pop it up on the screen. So the way we're going to wrap this up, nice and quickly, is I didn't cover what boats the Taliban got. Did you see what boats they've got? They've got a really impressive navy now. Let me show you their navy.
From what I heard, they've got 6 pedalos of there. Is it 2 canoes?
Yes,
There they are.
yeah, here we are. So we have the Taliban out in pedalos. This is not Photoshop. It's not fake. This is genuinely the Taliban went out on pedalos. But of course, the Taliban have to have their guns with them, so they're out on pedalos carrying their guns.
I was joking about pedalos. I didn't realise they were actually.
No, have you seen this?
I didn't
Look
see
at this
that,
guy.
no.
So they're like, oh gosh, I can't be seen on a pedalo with 4 men. What would make it seem macho? My RPG. I'll carry an RPG on the boat.
I just want to see one like somebody like getting
those
those bucket of
queuing
water
up to get on the pedalos.
Oh, it's crazy, isn't it?
Here we are. Nice American rifle there.
So are those pedalos US Navy pedalos, are they?
Yeah, could you imagine? But what is this? Why has he got an RPG at the front? You wouldn't want to bump into his pedalo, would you?
Maybe he's doing a fireworks display or something. I don't know.
And on that note, let's swap to our new game.
Yes. Well, yeah, right. Hey, it's working. Okay.
Lovely.
Guess the law.
Guess
as you can tell, our
the
graphics.
law with your favourite quizmaster, Laurence Marshall.
There we go. Okay, so bit like the other one, all you've got to do is guess the law. However, some of these laws are a bit wacky. They're all quite wacky, actually. They're laws that have been around for years and they've just never changed. If we do have any UK solicitors or anybody who knows a bit about law and any of these are wrong, please let us know and we will correct them. So this is the UK Parliament. MPs cannot blank in Parliament.
Is this carry swords?
It's along those lines.
They can't take their. I know they can't take swords into the House of Commons. Is it along
MPs
that?
cannot wear protective
armour. Yeah.
In Parliament.
Protective armour.
The English law prohibits MPs from wearing armour inside the Houses of Parliament. The statute in the United Kingdom history, can't pronounce that, coming armed to Parliament was never repealed. Strange English laws don't get much stranger. There we go.
I wonder if that would mean that they wouldn't be able to wear body armour, like a stab-proof vest into the House of Parliament.
True, yeah, I don't know.
I wonder if that would actually mean illegal then.
Armour.
If anyone understands law, could you please let us know that? I think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
If they actually, because this law hasn't been repealed, if they actually were carrying body armour, like if they needed to have a stab-proof vest on, would they?
And also, because obviously we have police, you have obviously the security, don't you, for MPs and things like that. So it'd be interesting whether it covers them as well, and whether it's just metal armour or whether, as you say, whether it's bulletproof or not.
Well, if that's the actual wording, then it's just as wearing armour, and you could say a body stab-proof vest is armour. Yeah,
and I guess as well, like, do you class like cricket stuff as that armour as well or not? I don't know. Could you wear a cricket box? That's armour in your...
I don't know. Anyway. I think that's padding.
Padding. Okay, yeah. Okay, so number 2. Jumping the blank is unlawful.
The Thames? No, you can't jump the Thames.
I'll tell you, this one in England is... If you do it, not only is it unlawful, you would probably get stoned for it.
You get stoned for it?
Very frowned upon here. When people do it, people are like, how
for it?
dare
Who's getting
you?
Stoned in the UK?
You don't get stoned for it, but you probably would. I mean, if somebody did it to me, I would be like... I mean, now, if you do it...
People used to get stoned.
People absolutely hate it. Absolutely hate it.
Jump in the queue.
Yeah.
Yes. Queue is unlawful.
Apparently so.
I don't think that's a weird law. I completely support that law. I hate it if people try and jump in the queue. Yeah,
apparently it's under TfL bylaws, so yeah.
I think that should be a proper sentencing.
That's what I mean. I mean, when people do it to me, there's no... I mean, okay, sometimes I get when people, they will like save a space. They've been waiting. It's still annoying, isn't it? You've been waiting there for hours and then their mate comes and, I've saved you a space. Fair enough. But yeah, when people just jump a queue, you're like, hang on a minute, I've been waiting in the queue here to pay for my...
Yeah.
Donuts.
Well, they try and sneak around, don't they?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. Oh, well, now you have. Go to the back of the queue.
There, mate. Yeah, the queue starts here, not over there. So back you go. That's another one when people join the queue at the wrong place.
Oh yeah. Say they didn't realise. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there's a queue of like 7 of you going one way, and then someone just goes stands over the other side, and you're like, "What are you doing?" Obviously, the queue's over here.
Who's next, please? And they get on this. Hang on a minute. Yeah. Right, this one's a bit more common sense, really, but I guess you still have to have a law for it. Causing a blank could get you into trouble.
Stampede.
No, it's not that.
What? No.
That's common sense as well.
Causing a riot?
No.
A commotion?
We do get a lot of those. No. Ready? What? Causing a nuclear explosion could get you into trouble. Now, there are weird UK laws and there are downright crazy UK laws that are unbelievable. The terms of the Nuclear Explosions Prohibition and Inspections Act 1998 make it illegal to cause a nuclear explosion. I
mean, I'm kind of glad that is a law. However,
it is.
I'm glad it's a law. That's not a weird law. Completely support it. I do not think people should be able to create nuclear explosions.
It's an odd one, isn't it? But yeah, it's one of those common sense things you'd think. But then these days,
you have to make laws common sense. You have
That's
to.
True. Yeah. Do not blank in the Metropolitan Police District. I thought this one was a bit odd.
Do not blank. Do not. We. I don't know.
That's quite a good law. Do not shake a carpet in the Metropolitan Police District.
I see, yeah.
It's been illegal to shake or beat a carpet rug in the streets of the Metropolitan Police District since 1839. An old... So...
I guess that's because people's carpets used to be really disgusting.
Yeah, but say, for example, I'm just, I don't know what prison sentences for these are, but say I've got a doormat and it's a bit filthy and I thought, you know what, I'll just shake the mud off. Policeman's walking past, there we go, I get a criminal record, couldn't I? Just shake.
It has to be in the Metropolitan Police District, because I mean, I get...
Well, if you live there.
When I do take the time to clean out my car, which is not often, but when I do take that time, I always beat the carpets together.
See, but there it says a carpet rug. So that's interesting. Is it a carpet or rug, or does it have to be a specific carpet rug?
I don't know, but I don't think anyone gives the tiniest shite about that. So let's skip on.
But we need to warn people, because if you are doing your nice...
If you happen to be in the Metropolitan Police District, watch out when you're smacking your rugs together. Not a euphemism.
Smacking your rugs together. I know that one. Right. It is illegal to blank in suspicious circumstances.
Is that the one carry the tuna?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's illegal to handle salmon. No, we don't know what it means either. But Section 32 of the Salmon Act 1986 specifically outlaws handling salmon in suspicious circumstances, so please stop doing it. So is it a case of, I don't know, I'm walking through the street with a salmon, but I look suspicious, that's the illegal bit? Or is it the fact that I've received the fish suspiciously that's illegal? I mean... Because
I've seen this one and I don't understand it. Like,
if somebody's walking with a massive salmon through the street, it does look a bit suspicious. But then they might have just bought it.
If I see anyone walking with a salmon like that through the street, it's suspicious, isn't it? Like,
so are they breaking the law just by carrying a salmon?
Well, I guess so, because they are suspicious. Who carries the salmon like that?
So how would you make carrying a salmon not suspicious? Do you have to smile? What's not suspicious? How?
Yeah, I don't know. It's odd one, isn't it? I mean, if you're smiling while walking down the street holding a salmon, it looks suspicious as well. You're like, what the hell is wrong with that person?
But if you put it in like a bag or like a suitcase and it just looks like you carry a bag, then it doesn't look suspicious, does it?
No. But then, if you're got in a carrier bag and you're walking suspiciously, does it mean...
Well, there we go,
yeah. What on earth was this law for? And it's weird because it was 1986, so it's quite recent.
So, I mean, if somebody knows why this law came in and what it's about, please let us know. I'd love to know.
It's really not that old, 1986. So.
No. Before I was born, but yeah, it's one of those... like, some of them I can understand, like if it was back from the 1800s or something, I'm sure there was... But yeah, I don't know. Maybe people were in the 1980s suspiciously holding salmon. But also, why just salmon? Why not any other fish? Is salmon particular?
Well, because it's the Salmon Act. There must have been some issue with the salmon during that time or something. Well, we'll have to research it. But that's the last one, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe you're not allowed to carry Alex Salmond, whatever his name is, an MP, suspiciously. That's what's called the Salmon Act, 1986.
Maybe.
I don't know.
And on that terrible joke note, it is time to end the episode. Thank you very much for sticking around. Thank you for being here, of course. And
please do come back.
Yeah, please do come back. I hope you like our new name. I hope you like our new format. And we'll see you next time. Until then, have a good night.
Bye.
Or day, depending on what time you're watching this at.